In any city, in any country, go to any penitentiary or correctional facility you can get yourself into. Go on any day except on a visitation day. Once there, find the warden's office. If he isn't there, wait. When the warden comes and asks you what you're there for, tell him you're there to see a prisoner. When he tells you this is impossible, tell him you wish to see prisoner 51N. Comprehension and then profound disappointment will show on his face. He will wordlessly lead you away from the office and into the nearest cell block. As you make your way through the block, you may look around to see that, no matter the time of day, every prisoner is asleep behind the bars, with their hands clasped over their chest. At the end of the block is a door only visible to the seeker and the warden. A heavy iron door with a bronze plate stamped with the identification 51N. He will open the door. Let him enter, then follow close behind. The door will shut behind you. Inside is a long hallway, lit only by a single yellow bulb in the middle, with both ends in darkness. When you pass under the light, you will hear from no particular direction the sound of a girl gasping in horror. You are not the only one who has heard her dismay. The being that watches over her has heard it as well. You will next hear its heavy footfalls from the hallway entrance. You must turn steadily toward the noise, look into the lightless dark at the end, and say with sincerity, "I am only here for words. I seek no vengeance and mean no harm." The footsteps may accelerate, and if they do, you cannot flee fast enough. You and the warden will both be killed. If you are believed, if you are trusted, then you will hear nothing more in that hallway. You should hasten to catch up to the warden. Should he reach the other side without you, then you will be trapped, alone, until you wither away. At the end of the hall, back in the blinding dark, the warden will raise his arm and take hold of a great switch on the wall, though this will be all but impossible to make out so far from the light. He will throw it down with sudden vigor, as if it were delivering a killer current to some loathsome convict. When the switch makes contact, you will see nothing but an all-encompassing white light. But you don't have to fear. You are safe. For now. When your vision returns, you will see before you a tremendous, empty chamber, illuminated by a light with no source. In the very center, far away from you, a girl will be there, sitting with her back to you. You may hear the odd whimper or the jangling of metal. Walk toward her. Do not turn around. You are still followed by the prisoner's silent keeper, the towering demon, who both oversees her punishment and guards her safety. And you do not wish to see it in the light. Its head is crowned in twisted horns and helmed in the skulls of other fiends, the tight black linens wrapping its form, revealing only cloven feet. The sight of it will leave you without the steadiness of the soul required for your task. So let the beast loom behind. Walk slowly and calmly until you stand close behind her. Look over her shoulders. You won't see her face with her head bowed as it is, but you will see the chains that jangle around her wrists and arms. As you stand over her, she will make no whimper or cry, no further sound, until she speaks to you.
I'm sorry. I am so sorry. So sorry.
You will suddenly become aware of an item in your right hand, a chisel. The handle is wooden and worn down. The shaft is scratched. The tip is as sharp as the day it was made. Now she will raise her head, plant her hands on the floor, and push herself to her feet. She will turn around and look into your eyes. While her appearance is not fixed, some things can be guaranteed. She will appear younger than you, smaller than you, even more attractive than you. She will look pathetic and in need. But regardless of her efforts, the moment you meet her gaze, something will overtake you. Anger and spite. In that moment, every hardship you have ever endured and every tragedy that has ever befallen you will be all her doing, her fault. She will be the cause of every wrong you have suffered, the reason for every sacrifice you were forced to make, the source of your pain. You will blame her for it all. And neither the chains that weigh her down, nor the pleading eyes and pleading voice will sway you. You will feel that anger rush into every corner of your body, filling and consuming you. Your grip will tighten on the item in your hand. Killing her will seem like the only sensible course of action, the only way to make things right, the only way to quench the fire inside of you. But though mercy is surely beyond you now, let your hand be stayed by the knowledge that her guardian stands behind you, and should harm come to her, you will be sundered. She will place her hands on your arms, and you should resist the urge to throw them off. She will gaze into your eyes. She will say, in heartfelt admission,
I was misled. I was ignorant. I was wrong.
Then she will ask you a question.
Have you any mercy for me? Can you ever forgive me?
Of course, through visions of her blood on your hands, you will feel no mercy. There are several answers that you may give, but only one will see you through. You may lie. You may answer yes. You will see something like the beginning of a smile on her. Then you will hear the sound of rushing wind or water, that in a second will grow to a deafening roar, then stop instantly. You will awaken in the middle of a field in the country, surrounded by a fence the same size and dimensions as the chamber in which you just stood. But that anger, though it may subside, will never leave you, and you'll be forever obsessed with the blame and the spite you have for her. And deep inside you, your every heartbeat from that point on will feel like the prick of a needle from within your breast. You may answer no. Speak the word, and the anger will explode and absorb your will entirely. You will raise your hand and plunge the chisel into her chest, then draw it out and send it in again. The rushing, roaring sound will accompany the feeling of the keeper's hands sinking into your flesh. You will find yourself in the field, in a pool of your own blood, you will stagger to your feet, something less than human, clutching that battered tool, dying. Filled with rage and senseless bloodthirst, you will murder the first person you meet, then the second, then the third, and it will go on until you die, one way or another. The only other answer you can give, and still remain in that room, alive, is to ask a question in return. Relax yourself. Ask her in a calm tone. Why did you let them come to be? She will appear pained by the question, by the memory. She will relent in her pleading for the moment. The holder will sit and usher you to the floor with her, accept the gentle tug of her guilty hands, and sit before her to listen to her story. She will tell you the story of a life filled with sins both venial and unforgivable. She will tell you how the people around her all came to meet unspeakable fates, one by one, as her life went on. She will speak of calamities that came by her foolish intervention. She will speak of blood and war and death. She will speak of fiends and devils and creatures for which there are no earthly words. She will speak of worlds beyond the earth, hells beyond comprehension, and long-lost virtues now beyond reclamation. She will tell you of how the objects came to be and the terrible part she played in their creation. She will recount for you hundreds upon hundreds of tragedies and atrocities over many hours there in the silent chamber, her vitriolic confessions seeping into your heart, urging you to punish her for her crimes. Yet with every word the beast behind you watches for the smallest suggestion that you might attack. By the end, the smallest twitch of the hand that bears the chisel may bring your destruction. But if you should listen to all of this quietly and patiently, then she will share the final act she had committed before her imprisonment. She will tell you how, long ago, she cursed your life with her actions. She will tell you how she burdened you with the destiny of a seeker. The moment her story is over, the rage will begin to melt away. Do not relax. It will take some time, but eventually it will leave your soul almost entirely. But though your mind is no longer clouded, you now know that she allowed the objects to exist, and that she placed you among their seekers. Her guilt cannot be denied. The holder knows this, and she will place her head in her hands, and again begin to weep softly. Now that the air has changed, you will feel the presence of her keeper slowly disappear. Sit with her for as long as it takes. Clasp the tool in your hand and wait in silence for her tears to dry. When at last she can speak again, she will meet your eyes and say to you,
I am so very sorry. Can you forgive what I've done?
Perhaps you will, and perhaps you won't. The answer will lie within you, the vindictive or the magnanimous. Speak the truth. Whether you say yes or no, she will hear the truth in your voice regardless, for after so long, she has well learned to recognize bitterness in the voices of others. Should you forgive her, you will see a tired joy in her face, and your forgiveness will make her imprisonment a modicum less arduous. If you cannot forgive her crimes, she will only resign to your hatred. Whatever your answer, listen well to what she tells you. She might say,
"The large red door in the square frame."
Or possibly,
"The arched door far in the left corner."
she will ignore you after this, and you should walk to the wall behind her. When you reach it, you will discover that her cell is but one of many, for the wall is filled with doors of all sorts and shapes. They fade in and out, passing over each other like projections. Find the one she spoke of. Choose correctly, and you'll have your escape. Choose incorrectly, and you'll only find your way to your own prison. And like the holder, you will never be freed. When you pass through the door, your vision will fade, but just as when you entered, you are safe until it returns. You'll find yourself standing in the middle of a field, surrounded by a fence, the same size and dimensions as the holder's cell. In your hand remains the object, the chisel. You must hide it anywhere, so long as it can't be seen by the eyes of men. Should anyone else gaze upon it, they will be instantly consumed by a murderous fury, which can only be satisfied by your death. If you were able to forgive the holder for her sins, then the chisel's tip will be lodged in your shoulder, while the tool itself will be degraded and worn. Pull the tip out of the shallow wound and hide it with the body. Your work, for now, is done, seeker. However, if you were not able to forgive the holder, then the body of the chisel will lie in your hand, but the tip will be nowhere to be seen. And yet, from that day forward, deep inside you, your every heartbeat will feel like the prick of a needle from within your breast. This object is the fault. The objects must never be brought together. The one who rejoins them cannot ever be forgiven.